Wow, it really does look like it's gonna happen, and DeSantis hasn't said shit. Yeah, so I got the inspiration to do this video right now because Trump went on the attack against DeSantis. Oh yeah, oh yeah. DeSantis does not respond, and I'm kind of scared to see if how he responds. But how? Let's take a look at a hypothetical 2024 primary. Just these two, like nobody else, just these two. And in the Republican primary, you need at least 15% to win delegates. But if a candidate cracks 50%, they win all the delegates. So in a only Trump versus DeSantis matchup, it would essentially be a prize for it's a winner take all system because someone's getting 50%. So I'm going to pull up the Republican primary schedule from 2016. It's probably not the same. Probably. But let me just pull this bad boy up. Hopefully, this is it. Uh, okay. Okay, first up, Iowa, obviously. So, Iowa, I think this goes to Trump. It's a Trump stronghold. He might have lost it in 2016, but let's be honest, it's either because one, there were so many other candidates on there, plus Trump really didn't lose by that much. Also, the fact that Iowa's a very libertarian-leaning state, and Ted Cruz is a libertarian Republican, so that kind of also makes sense in the fact that Ted Cruz siphoned away votes from Ben Carson, because the Cruz campaign called a bunch of Ben Carson supporters and said that Ben Carson had dropped out and that Carson had endorsed Cruz, which wasn't true. So, yeah, I do think Trump has better, I guess, white working class appeal here to win Iowa. New Hampshire. Wait, that's next, right? New Hampshire. Yeah, New Hampshire is next. New Hampshire, I do believe Trump would also win New Hampshire. Um, Granted, he did win it in 2016 by a very large margin, winning every single county. I don't see DeSantis pulling off a victory here. What's next? South Carolina is the next state. Or, yeah, South Carolina is the next state. So I actually think this is where a DeSantis victory comes in. I think it's since it would be larger, however, due to two Trump victories in a row, it'll be much narrower. DeSantis wins 52 to 48, but it's still enough to get him a victory to win every single delegate in South Carolina. Plus, South Carolina is a very establishmentarian state, and it's just one district, of course, but Trump's endorsement really didn't help Katie Arrington all that much. Though it did help Russell Fry beat Tom Rice in another district. Oh God, excuse me. Oh God, I'm having trouble breathing. Next up, Nevada. I think Nevada goes to DeSantis. DeSantis has a much better suburban and Hispanic appeal than Donald Trump does. It'll be 53 to 47. It'll be close. Like Iowa would be 55 to 45, and New Hampshire would be like 56 to 44. It would be big Trump victories. However, when we get to South Carolina, Nevada, it would be a different story. And of course, heading into Super Tuesday, DeSantis is leading over Trump, which is of course a big boost. Now we go over to the Super Tuesday. First up, Alabama. Um, I think Trump narrowly wins Alabama. I think he wins it 51 to 48. Alabama is so close to Florida. I can see the governor Kay Ivey endorsing DeSantis over Trump, but still, the rural areas would turn out good for Donald Trump. However, I think the black population in the Black Belt would turn out for DeSantis. I'm inching towards more Trump winning Alabama. Next up, Alaska. I'm going to give this to DeSantis. So far, nothing Trump has done in the state of Alaska has helped. Sarah Palin lost. Kelly Tishibaka is on her way to lose. I think Alaska is very much like, we'll vote for you in a general, but if there's someone else, someone like another major candidate, we'll vote for them. I think Alaska would go to DeSantis. 53-47, 54-46, something like that. Next up, Arkansas. Arkansas is next. I give that one to DeSantis. Actually, no. I'm going to give it to Trump. I think Trump does a lot better. It trended to the right with Trump on the ballot in 2020. Uh, Sarah Sanders, the governor elect, will endorse Trump here. So, and that will most likely give him a boost. Which I know sounds hypocritical because I just said Kay Ivey might endorse DeSantis and I didn't give it to him, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. Possibly. Next up, Colorado. Oh, wait. No, never mind. Okay, right? Okay, I'm gonna go Colorado, I guess. Okay, Colorado, I'm gonna give it to DeSantis. The Republicans nominated a anti-Trump candidate for Senate and a moderate for governor who didn't really have a position on Trump. Also, the fact that Lauren Boebert could lose, even though she's leading right now, I'm pretty sure she's fine. That's probably gonna bite me before this video even comes out. But I think DeSantis wins in Colorado. I don't know. I think he does better in Denver and the suburbs, a lot better with those voters in the Republican primary, even Latinos. Next up, Georgia. This one's the DeSantis victory. Brian Kemp easily defeated David Perdue with Trump's endorsement very easily, and I highly doubt. And honestly, Trump could pivot from talking about the 2020 election, but honestly, I could also be like 2020 election was rigged, and DeSantis is actually talking about kitchen table issues and important issues, which will probably doom Trump in Georgia. And I also imagine Brian Kemp will endorse Ron DeSantis as well. Next up, Massachusetts. Oh God, I'm gonna go Trump on this one. I like Trump's endorsement scared Charlie Baker so much that it caused him to retire and not run for a third term. So Trump clearly has a lot of political influence in the state of Massachusetts, a bunch of support here. I think Trump probably wins Massachusetts by around 8 or 9 points. Next up, Minnesota. God. I don't know. I'm going to give it to Trump. I think he wins it by around 4 points. Again, it's a Rust Belt state. This is Trump's game right here, is in the Rust Belt. Yeah, I'm leaning towards more of a confident Trump victory here in Minnesota. Next up, North Dakota. This is a very establishmentarian state. I'm going to give it to Ron DeSantis. Again, there are some white working class voters here in eastern North Dakota. Again, honestly, the white working class vote was split pretty hard. I think it was 52-48 overall to Trump, but it'll be very close. Like both these candidates have really good white working class appeal. But again, North Dakota being an establishmentarian state, I could see Doug Burgum endorsing DeSantis over Trump. I could see North Dakota going for DeSantis by around 2 points. Next up, Oklahoma. Ooh. I guess Trump. Again, it's very rural. It's one of those areas Trump will dominate in. There's not much room for DeSantis to grow. A lot of Native American population in Oklahoma, but we really don't have enough data to say who would do better with Native American voters between the two. Next up, Tennessee. Again, I'm going to say Trump wins Tennessee, probably around 3 to 4 points. It's a very narrow victory. The governor, Bill Lee, probably endorses Trump. Texas. Oh boy. Okay. This one's tough because I don't imagine Greg Abbott, the governor, endorsing either candidate. I don't. Probably because, stay out of it. Again, Trump's endorsements did help a lot in Texas. But again, those people he endorsed was going to win no matter what. Again, a heavy Hispanic population will help DeSantis. I think it's a very, very, very narrow Trump victory. 1% or less. I think Trump barely crosses the finish line in Texas. Next up, Vermont. I'm going to say Trump to continue the Northeast thing and probably the twin state factor between Vermont and New Hampshire. It does carry over in primaries from both sides of the aisle. Virginia. I'm going to say DeSantis wins here. It used to be very establishmentarian. Now it's moving towards a more moderate populist thing. And Youngkin, I can imagine him, Winsome Sears already said she's not endorsing Trump, so I can imagine Glenn Youngkin either staying out of the race or endorsing DeSantis, which will just boost DeSantis' appeal in Virginia even more. So Virginia probably goes to DeSantis. Next up, Kansas. This is a DeSantis state. Kansas really bucked the Trump-endorsed governor candidate, who was already an awful candidate to begin with. So I think DeSantis would win with college-educated whites in Kansas. That's a win for him. Kentucky, I'm gonna say Trump wins here. It really depends on who Rand Paul endorses. Rand Paul would probably have a big factor here, but it's Kentucky, a very rural state. I'm pretty sure Trump has Kentucky in the bag. Louisiana, another Trump victory here in Louisiana. Again, I don't really need to explain much. Maine, ooh, I'm gonna say Trump very narrowly. However, Trump's got like a hold on the Northeast, so I just can't imagine Trump losing any of these northeastern states. Nebraska, I'm gonna say DeSantis. Trump's endorsement got bucked pretty hard in the governor's race. For Jim Pillin, who you could have also argued could have gotten Trump's endorsement. But again, like you got to think like Trump will lose two congressional districts here. Trump will do well in Nebraska's third district, but the first and second one will most likely go to DeSantis, giving him a victory here in Nebraska. Uh, Puerto Rico, yeah, like these territories, they probably vote for people who has the most name recognition, and Trump has that in spades over Ron DeSantis. So Trump probably wins Puerto Rico. Hawaii, Trump probably has Hawaii in the bag. Honestly, he's really does really good with the voters in the state, rather than you'd think. Idaho, they bucked Trump in the primary over Janice McGetchen. I'm pretty sure DeSantis wins by around 3 points in Idaho. They voted for Brad Little over Trump's endorsed candidate. So, next up, Michigan. This is a Trump state through and through. Probably wins it by 5 to 6 points over DeSantis. Next up, Mississippi. Oh, Tate Reeves is probably going to endorse DeSantis, but again, it's like an Alabama situation. I don't see Trump losing it. Black voters, Trump probably flops with black voters. DeSantis probably, actually, no, wait. No, DeSantis is terrible with black voters. Never mind. Oh boy. I give it to Trump. Give Mississippi to Trump. Probably wins it by double digits. The Virgin Islands, yeah, that's Trump victory. No questions asked. Guam, that goes to Trump. Again, the whole territory thing. The Northern Mariana Islands, that goes to Trump. I think you need like 2,100 delegates to win. DC, Marco Rubio won DC back in 2016. I'm going to say DeSantis because a lot of the establishment Republicans there won't vote for Trump. So, and it's a very liberal area, so not that many Republicans in the area. So, I guess DeSantis does win in DC, probably very narrowly. However, next up, Wyoming. I'm going to give it to Trump. Again, it's very rural, very big. A lot of Democrats who switched over in 2022 who don't switch back will absolutely vote for DeSantis, which will probably give him 2 counties, but Trump will win the rest. Florida. I think we all know where this is going. Yeah, DeSantis wins Florida, probably by 8 points, around 6 to 8 points. That's a big victory for DeSantis in Florida. Illinois, that will probably go to Trump. Probably does well in Chicagoland as well as downstate. Probably wins big here in Illinois, probably by 9 points. Missouri, that probably goes to Trump by around 3 points. Big red wall forming right here with a chef. If you look at it, there's the hat, the face, the body, the legs, the boot. Now that you see it, you can never unsee it. But yeah, Trump probably wins here in Missouri. North Carolina, absolutely Trump or DeSantis wins here. It's not that North Carolina is a establishment state. It's the fact that DeSantis will do well in the suburbs and as well as Appalachia, to the point where he probably picks off the state by 2 points over Donald Trump. He might even like pick off a bunch of like Trump supporters who supported him back in 2016. So there's that. Didn't we already do Northern Mariana Islands? What the hell? Next up, Ohio. That goes to Trump. Even though he lost it in 2016, he only lost it because he was running against John Kasich. John Kasich, but he probably wins it now. American Samoa, that goes to Donald Trump. The name recognition's too strong. Arizona absolutely goes to DeSantis. Kerry Lake is going to endorse Trump, but DeSantis would be good in Maricopa County and the native. I'm not going to know. He'd do well in Tucson, very Hispanic heavy areas. I'm going to say DeSantis narrowly wins here in Arizona, just barely. Even with the Kerry Lake endorsement that goes to Trump. Utah. DeSantis probably wins big here. Utah is going to probably be the biggest victory for DeSantis so far. Probably wins it by 15 points or more. DeSantis is seen as a family man, a very hard worker by the Utah people, and Trump's very hated by Utah Republicans. They only vote for him because he's Republican, or if there's not an Evan McMullin on the ticket. So DeSantis probably wins here in Utah. We already did North Dakota. Wisconsin, that goes to Donald Trump pretty easily. New York, that definitely goes to Donald Trump. That's a big prize for Trump. This is essentially his original home state. New York City will put Trump over the top by itself. Connecticut, that goes to Trump. You can argue that he pretty much made a bad choice by endorsing Leora Levi for the Senate seat instead of Tim Scalise, and his endorsement pretty much sealed the deal. And his endorsement was stronger than the Connecticut Republican Party's endorsement, so that should tell you enough. Delaware, that's over. Maryland, his endorsement. We're going to talk about Dan Cox's performance here soon, but Trump's endorsement will play a big role in Maryland. And plus, he endorsed Neil Parrott, if I'm not mistaken, which helped him there. Pennsylvania, that goes to Donald Trump. Hold on. I'm 2016 Republican primary. Like, Wikipedia will tell me how many delegates you need to win in order to take a look at 2020, see if it's any different. 1237, 1276. How many does Trump have now? Trump's already won. So at this point, DeSantis drops out, and Trump will go on to win the rest of these by dictator-like margins because there's no other candidates. So DeSantis drops out once Trump hits the threshold. DeSantis gets 710 delegates to Trump's 1,852. It's kind of a competitive primary, but at the same time, Trump always had it in the bag. Trump has too much appeal to really say, oh, he would lose this state or he'd lose that state. Now, before you come down in the comments below and say Trump would lose the West Coast, I'm telling you now, DeSantis has dropped out by now. Pay attention to the video. I love you. This is the Cattic one saying peace.